right-hand corner, hit that option standard logo and subscribe. Hope all is well. Kids are going to school. Everything's getting back to somewhat normal, seems. So what's happening with the market? That's the key here. I named this the holiday held market up? Question mark? Question mark? Because we had that usual holiday grind, but it was very interesting how no matter what happened, the catalysts that were going on with the employment report, ADP, things like that, there would be a slight movement, like a knee-jerk reaction, and then back to normal. And I think that was just because the holiday, it sounds weird, but the holiday, we weren't going to crash before it. And when I say crash, I don't mean like a huge dip. We're just looking for a wave 4 pullback. It should be pretty significant, very tradable. And so therefore, I do believe it's just being held up for next week. We'll have to watch price action and follow price action. That's the key. You can't just keep losing money going the opposite direction of where the play is. Now we are definitely set up to where our puts would start working, but we hedge our puts with some call plays and things like that. So we're going to go through SPX on multiple time frames. Then we're going to head over to SPY for the volume, VIX futures, see what's going on there. I think there's a bunch more clues that we could start to show that maybe we're going to see some downside pretty soon. And then we're going to end that for non-members. And if you want to join our Patreon, it's $5 a month for the first tier, and the second tier is $10. It's not much to get some trade education and be able to trade with me. So let's jump into it. All right, guys, we have SPX on the weekly. We are working on wave. Let's get over here so we can see it. We are working on wave 1, possible wave 2, and 3. We're looking for wave 3 to end pretty soon here. We have some sort of a little bit of a hammer doji, but nothing significant with a long wick. So it doesn't seem very convincing that that's a reversal candle, but it's possible. We are over all of the MAs, our trend line. So everything's bullish. Everything's bullish on here. We do have a little bit of divergence on the MACD. As usual, each and every week's been the same right here, just forming divergence, showing that the relative strength, and the momentum is waning just a little bit. So those give us a long-term clue that we should start looking for some sort of intermediate top. But it's been weeks, so let's jump into the daily. Daily trend is our friend. We're going to get a little bit closer here into this ending diagonal. We think that's happening right now. We're on wave 1, 2, 3, wave 4 down, and working on wave 5 of intermediate wave 5. So I'm sorry, we have minor wave 5 of intermediate wave 5 of primary wave 3 is what we're working with. Now we're over all the MAs as well. Everything's bullish on the chart. The candles are just pausing during this holiday break. We are seeing just sideways movement in the MACD, and also ready for a little bit more divergence in both the RSI and the MACD. Unless those start pushing higher, we have to burn the divergence from the last high. So we'd have to make higher highs and higher lows on the MACD, and higher highs and higher lows on the RSI. So if we do not, then the divergence continues until we break. Okay, so let's move over to the 65 on SPX real quick before we change to charts, change the charts, and go on the hourly time frame. We're going to look at this ending diagonal a little bit closer here. So ending diagonal is a 3-wave move up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, and that should complete our wave. So we have our 3-wave. That's A, B, C for 1, A, B, C for 2, A, B, C for 3, A, B, C for 4, and A, B, C. And this last, the C should be a 5-wave move up to in for our diagonal. So let's see if we got that 5-wave. It's possible we did. We have, we're counting wave 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 did not cross over wave 1, so that could be possible. Wave 4, and now an ending expanding diagonal for wave 5, which means we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 waves for a higher high to complete wave 5. And we think we're done with that, and we just had that holiday trade. Like I said, we're not gonna let us crash right before the holiday, but we have a possible wave 1, 2, and working on wave 3. We break. This is our sell signal. We have this rising pivot. We've been talking about this pivot for some time now, a few weeks. We broke above it. That's our throw over move from our ending diagonal, and we keep retesting that same rising pivot. So if we continue higher, we continue to hedge. We start to break below this rising pivot. We are going to press on the downside for our end of wave 3 and going on to wave 4 in the primary wave. So that's what we're looking at. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as this pivot. We have these wave counts. Now, if we break down underneath the pivot and start to break back to the upside, then we may have something else going on, and we'll have to relook at our wave counts and see if maybe this last wave is starting a new wave 1 and a wave 2 to go higher. Okay, so that would be extremely bullish, and the divergences should be breaking through and burning off those divergencies to the upside. So that's in a nutshell what's happening. And it's not much different from what we've been saying on almost every single video for the last few weeks. And let's bring it back to the daily and go up to the SPY. SPY, we just like to look at the volume. It's always nice to look at the chart and get a second view of the chart as well. But we really check out the daily and the weekly volume. So here's on the daily. Our volume still very narrow. This the holiday trade. We're also pressing the upside. No conviction here yet. So maybe next week on Tuesday, when we reopen after Labor Day, we could start to see some volume, whether it be to the upside or to the downside. Either way, I'd like to get some confirmation on direction. And now that I'm just looking at this right now here with you, we're preparing for this to be the top of wave 3. Now I pulled this right up to the top here, and our retracement for that wave 4 at minimum should be a 23.6 retracement, and it just happens to coincide perfect with this level here, which is a nice support once resistance, and also our rising pivot, another pivot here, which that would be a great spot to either have a pullback to bounce up for another pullback down to the 38.2, which is also a if we go, there's a gap right there and also support, so that would be a perfect spot for us to also retrace as well. And we'll put the gaps there on the lower time frame. The gap's already there, and we'll monitor that. So volume is what we were looking at. Let's move over to the VIX. Okay, so on the VIX, we see that we still are in that falling wedge. I have all sorts of alerts on here. Let's go down to the 65 so we can see what's happening. We started to break out from that wedge, made lower lows, and started to make higher highs and higher lows here on the hourly time frame. But we just stopped right at the 8 MA. So we'll really have to, we're back testing the wedge right there on Friday, and we'll really have to start to get some momentum next week if we want to see some movement, some conviction that we are starting our new bearish wave count on the SPX and our bullish wave count on the VIX. So that's another clue that we're breaking out from this falling wedge and that we're pretty bearish on the market. Okay, last but not least, let's go over to back to the SPX. Let's just look at the options expected move for the week. If you're not familiar with the options expected move, I'll tag the video up top and you can check that out. It's not very long. It's a little bit helpful. It just kind of gives us a frame of like a football field, a playing field of what's happening from the week before and the week before that. Just in the past, it shows us, are we really consolidating? Are we going sideways? Are we starting to break through the options expected move, or are we starting to expand volatility? Well, right now we're contracting. So this week coming up, the options expected move, and it's a shorter week, so it's expected, no pun intended, that the move would be a little bit smaller than last week. So we're looking at about 51 points to the upside or 51 points to the downside. I'm writing that on my whiteboard as well right there. So what we're going to do for this week is we're going to plan out headed to the downside, but we're going to put some butterfly hedges on the upper end. I usually just share that with my patrons, or members on the options guide Discord, which is free. You can check that out. But we'll put some butterflies on the upper edge of this expected move, just to make sure that we're not wrong with our count, and we're going to fly to the upside, because we're pretty heavily set to the downside, and we want to make sure that we have some really cheap hedges on that. If we go to the upside, that will even us out or take away some of the pain. So, all right, that's it for non-members. Thanks for joining us here at Options Center, the Weekend Edition. We will see you on Tuesday.